The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
Welcome into the Wicked Weed Studios. Like a good new house, we're tankless today.
Yeah.
I'm Jeremy Greene, this is Brian Haynes, and I am in the mood to piss somebody off today. As always, we're brought to you by Wicked Weed, wickedweedbrewing.com, drink different. I woke up in a weird mood this morning. We have put out our NFL team mock drafts. The rest of them go out today. If you have not seen your team, it will be released today, every hour on the hour for the rest of the day. And I have noticed something about NFL fans on the whole. Some of them are delusional as fuck. I have been told more things that don't make any sense by fans in the NFL than I could shake a stick at.
Right.
And so that got me thinking, I need to assess the state of affairs in the NFL leading into the NFL draft. So what we're going to do today is I've put every team in the NFL into categories, and Brian has ranked them.
Yeah.
My rankings are not, I'm not saying that the first tier is the 6 worst teams in the NFL. They're the 6 most delusional teams in the NFL. And to me, it's not even debatable. So what I've done is I have attached, there are 3 tiers. One of them's a little crazy, one of them's a little hopeful, and one of them is the contenders. The real, honest to God, these teams could win the Super Bowl contenders. So we're going to start with what I call the Gary Busey tier.
Oof.
And the Gary Busey tier is these are the teams that your fan bases are absolutely out of their ever-loving fucking minds. The first one is the Detroit Lions. The Lions are doing exactly what I have said bad teams, this is what you should do. You should be god-awful. Are the Lions the worst team in the NFL to you, Brian?
I do not believe they are the worst team in the NFL. I believe the worst team in the NFL will be the Houston Texans. And I am assuming that means Deshaun Watson will not be playing this year. Now, that could obviously change, barring how this whole ugly incidents play out. We don't know what is going to necessarily happen, if he's going to be suspended or what is going to happen. But I am assuming that he will not be playing this year. I'm taking that assumption, and I'm assuming they are going to definitely be the worst team in the NFL.
I don't really care if Deshaun Watson plays or not. I still think that's the worst team in the NFL. I think the Lions are the most delusional because they're literally trying to tell you we're not trying to win. There is no effort here of us to win football games. We want to be 0-17 to take Sam Howell first overall in the NFL draft next year. If I had to say the 5 worst teams in the NFL, 3 of them are on that screen. The Texans, the Lions, and the Eagles are markedly worse than every team in the NFL.
Yeah, I have it listed as the Texans, the Eagles, and then the Lions. I think the Eagles are definitely trying their absolute best. I think, like you were basically saying about the Lions, I think they're doing the same thing in Philadelphia. I do not believe Jalen Hurts is the answer in the long term. I think he showed some signs of being a decent quarterback, but I do not believe he's going to be a franchise quarterback. They also have just basically, ran everybody out of town. I do not believe that they're even trying. I believe they're trotting out Jalen Hurts to show the fan base, hey, here, we're giving them a shot. They're going to lose a ton of games, and they're going to come back, and they're going to be like, yeah, let's look, see what happened. It didn't work very well.
So the impetus for this is, like I said, these are not the 6 worst teams in the NFL. Not in my opinion. Mm-hmm. 3 of them are. Their fan bases all, for some reason, think they're going to be competitive, and it makes me laugh.
Yeah.
To me, if I was ranking teams, Houston would be 32, the Lions would be 31, the Eagles would be 30. Mm-hmm. From there, you get into a bunch of teams that are in the next tier to me that you're not playoff worthy, you're not a contender, but at least you're rational about where you're at. And the reason that matters is the Eagles are patching things together in a way that makes absolutely no sense to me. You have given a quarterback less weapons than I have seen of any young quarterback in my life.
Right.
I have never seen a quarterback that had day 1 or day 2 draft capital put into them, given less weapons. Name me a receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles right now. Not named Jalen Reagor.
Greg Ward, former quarterback from...
Yeah, he was a freaking quarterback. I think that tells you everything you need to know.
Right.
The Eagles are giving Jalen Hurts a chance.
Yeah.
No, they're not. They're trying to appease the fan base. That's all they're trying to do.
Right.
And the reason they're trying to appease the fan base is because Eagles fans are so delusional that they won't let them be terrible, which is what's going to keep them from having Keaton Slovis or Sam Howell without having to use that extra draft capital next year to get up and get them.
Yeah. I totally agree. Detroit, for some reason, I just feel the same way. I don't think they're trying to necessarily lose. I just think they're setting themselves up for the future. They did sign some people. They were all on one-year terms, basically to try to put a product out on the field without looking like they're tanking while tanking.
Jalen Hurts has been set up to be the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
And people don't want to hear that. It's the truth.
Yeah.
He has been set up to be the fall guy. They've already had one. Doug Peterson was the fall guy this past year. The fall guy next year is going to be Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
And Jeffrey Lurie will say, we gave him a shot. No, you really didn't. Now, the three teams on the right side of this graphic, they're a little different.
Yeah.
They're sprinkled in the 20s in terms of talent of a team. The Bears are actually in the teens for me. But their fan base is so out of their mind that they had to be in the screen. The Bears are not good. The defense is fine. The defense is actually going to probably be good. I don't know how you're going to score points. If you were a defensive coordinator lining up against the Bears, what would be the number one thing you wanted to stop? And I'll bet you we're not going to agree on this.
I would say Allen Robinson.
I would say David Montgomery. I will load the box up 8 deep against you on every play because your linemen are stereotypically run blockers. So you're not going to do a great job of protecting Andy Dalton. Oh, and by the way, the guy that has to beat me over the top is the red pistol, the red pea shooter. Yeah, I'm good. I don't care. I know he cannot beat me. No matter what happens, he can't beat me. So long as I don't let David Montgomery go crazy, you're not going to beat me. And I think the Bears are one of those 7-10, 8-9, 9-8 purgatory NFL teams.
I will agree with Chicago being delusional. I actually have them ranked as my 28th best team and I honestly do not believe this team has a chance in hell. Andy Dalton is not the answer at quarterback. I don't think they had the possibility to even, unless they do something drastic to get a quarterback, I don't see it happening this year. Yes, their defense is very, very, very good. I do not believe it's going to be as good as next year. I don't believe it's as good as last year's. Here's the thing. Andy Dalton is, I like to call him Roadhouse because his name's Dalton from the movie Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze. That's what my fantasy boys like to call him. It's pretty funny. But here's the thing. They're not going to be able to do anything, and I'm really sorry. But here's the thing. Chicago surprises me every single year. I didn't think they'd make the playoffs last year. And here they are, and they made the playoffs. So here's a team, but I don't necessarily agree with the Patriots. I know Cam Newton is their quarterback. I think they have some pieces in place. They're not going to be one of the, and again, you said these aren't the 6 worst teams in the NFL.
No, but you said 28, and there was a look on my face that looked like somebody just shot a puppy in front of me.
Right.
So you're telling me you think the Jacksonville Jaguars, the New York Jets, the New York Giants, let's see. I'll go with those 3. You think all 3 of those teams are better than the Bears?
I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are better than the Bears, or worse than the Bears, but I believe that the Jets and the Giants are going to be better than the Bears this year, yes.
That's an aggressive strategy, Cotton. I did not expect you to say that.
Yeah, I know. I'm just looking towards this year, and I think these teams are making the big leap. I think that Chicago is going to be taking a severe dive. I truly, honestly do. I could obviously be wrong, and I know that I have some family out in Chicago that's probably hating me right now, but I believe any team that is starting quarterback is Andy Dalton will not be sniffing the playoffs, period.
The red pea shooter. Yeah, I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah.
I have them in the high teens. I think they can still make the playoffs. Just depends on how much this team buys in. Is Nagy a lame duck coach? Do they fire him? If he goes 2-4 to start the season, do they fire him?
Yeah.
There's so much instability with Chicago that I can't tell you what they are. I don't know. That's the reason I didn't put numbers on these teams.
Right.
I'm telling you, compared to what everybody's going to tell you, these are the teams that are worse than you're hearing. The next tier, they're the teams that they have a word, and it's directly attributed to the celebrity that will be on the tier of the screen. New England's the one that I'm going to, oh, he's a Jets fan. Of course he thinks that. I'm so fucking sick of hearing how good New England's going to be. Keyshawn Johnson, this morning, and I love Keyshawn.
Yeah.
He actually said the Buffalo Bills have not passed the New England Patriots.
Oh, my God.
And I laughed. I had to go back home because I peed in my pants. I laughed so hard.
Have not passed them. Did he watch a game last year?
Apparently not.
Because Buffalo is one of the top 4 teams in this league last year. And
100%.
will be again this year.
Yeah, I'll give you a hint. If you're waiting for my analysis on Buffalo, you're going to be waiting for a minute.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Keyshawn's lost his mind. Again, I believe the Patriots are improved. I believe that they have improved some positions initially, but I don't believe they're going to be an 11-win team. I still believe they're going to be 8-9, 9-8.
Fact or fiction from not a Jets fan.
Yes.
You hate the Jets because you're a Giants fan.
Yes.
Fact or fiction, there is a path the New England Patriots are the worst team in the AFC East this year.
There is 100% an opportunity for that. I think the Jets are going to be super improved. I think people are going to be surprised. I believe Joe Douglas knows what he's doing. I think he's.
Well, we're not on to the Jets yet. I'm not talking about the Jets. I'm talking about New England.
Okay.
There is a path, yes or no, that the New England Patriots go 5-12.
Oh yeah, 100%.
There you go.
That's not even a doubt in my mind.
And you know why?
Cam Newton's your quarterback.
There you go.
Cam Newton cannot play quarterback in this league anymore. He's gone.
Oh, he was bad because he had the Rona. Well, then I guess he caught it 4 fucking years ago.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing that makes any sense because he's been terrible for years. Mm-hmm. And now you've built this roster around him that doesn't make any sense. Nelson Aguilar. What do you think he's going to play? Slot? He has the worst hands in the NFL, and you're giving him to the most inaccurate quarterback in the NFL, and you paid him.
Yeah.
Do you see how stupid that sounds when I say it that way? It just blows my mind. Like every deal they made, Matthew Judon, overrated pass rusher. I liked the Kyle Van Noy deal. Yeah, I'll give you that.
And I like them re-signing David Andrews. I think they have a very good offensive line. I still think it's the Patriots' way of running back by committee. Who knows who's going to be out there week by week. Kendrick Bourne and Nelson Aguilar are not the answer to have weapons on the outside. And it's not like they had anybody on there. Julian Edelman's retaring.
Julian Edelman's retiring because he knew one more year of Cam Newton and he might die. He might actually get killed on the field. And Adam Black asked me how many opt-outs are back for the Patriots. Unless one of them's Tom Brady, I don't care if it's 30. Right. The defense will be fine. Think about what they're going to have to contend against. Miami is going to be way better than you think they are.
So good.
And I'm probably as down on Tua Tagovailoa as anybody. They're going to be way better than you think. Mm-hmm. Buffalo will freight train them twice. And I'm going to be honest with you, they're way closer to the Jets than they are to the other two. I can see a path the Jets are better than them. I don't necessarily think it's going to happen, but I can see a path that it happens.
Yeah. Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. There's a strong possibility that New England ends up being the worst team in the AFC East, 100%.
Now, the Atlanta Falcons are a team that I'm going to piss you. If you're a fan of the Atlanta Falcons, I'm very sorry, but I'm about to piss you off for about the next 120 seconds. The Falcons have done something that I really don't like, and I have this on super good authority. So they hired a GM and they hired a coach, and they hired them completely independent of each other.
Oof.
The GM did not hire the coach. The coach did not pick his GM. And do you know why that is a problem? And I'm telling you this from a Jets fan that's watched my team do this about 6 times.
A GM always wants to have their coach.
Not even that.
Not that. Okay, talk to me about what it would be.
So a GM and a coach, if they're on the same page, what does that usually mean? They're in agreement about what?
Draft picks.
There you go. The Atlanta Falcons currently have a storm of brewing in their front office because the GM wants a new quarterback.
Yeah.
If they take a quarterback, rest assured, the GM's the loudest voice in the room. If they don't, it's Arthur Smith, and that's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, they might trade down and satiate them both, but you got to find somebody that wants to do that.
100%. I think Atlanta, they have to stay with Matt Ryan for the next couple of years. His contract pretty much dictates that. And I honestly still think Matt Ryan has a little bit to offer. I don't think they necessarily have to. I think they either draft Kyle Pitts or they trade back. I think if they draft a quarterback at number 4, I think they're doing it wrong. And I think that's maybe where the discontent between the GM and the coach is coming right now. From what I hear, Arthur Smith wants to run with Matt Ryan and run his offense through him. That play action pass, run the ball, They're going to have Mike Davis at running back. I think they're going to run the treads off of him. Whatever he has left, they're going to just run him to the ground. Play action pass. You still have Julio Jones. You have Calvin Ridley, who is a up-and-coming stud. I think it's pretty obvious. If I were choosing for Atlanta, it's Kyle Pitts or trade back, period.
And that's the thing. Terry Fontenot doesn't feel that way.
Yeah.
Terry Fontenot came from New Orleans. He knows how important a good quarterback is. And he doesn't think Matt Ryan's got it left. Arthur Smith thinks he can get the best out of Matt Ryan. And the name of this video is, well, bless their heart.
Yeah.
Because that is what Southern women say before they say some mean shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been in the South. If you never have been, if you hear, well, bless their heart,
bless your heart,
there is about to be something very mean said on the backside of that comment. And that's how I feel about the Falcons. If you had a direction, I would feel better about you. Mm-hmm. I think Matt Ryan can be good with Arthur Smith.
Me too.
I think Justin Fields could be good with Arthur Smith. I really need the front office to be on the same page.
Yeah.
And it bothers me that you're not.
Mm-hmm.
The next tier is the Bob Hope tier. I thought about calling this the Barack Obama tier, but I didn't. This is...
And we all know why.
Hope springs eternal.
Hope springs eternal.
And there's a lot of teams in this tier.
Yeah. Wow.
They're also split right down the middle because there's a big damn difference between the 5 on the left, the 1 in the middle, and the 10 on the right.
Right.
The 5 on the left, they all have the same thing in common. They either have a young quarterback or they're getting ready to have a young quarterback.
Okay.
The Jets, Zach Wilson, I don't know what he's going to be. I have no idea. I think he can run this system. I think he's perfect for what Rob Salah wants to do. I feel the same way about Trevor Lawrence with Urban Meyer. I feel the same way about Joe Burrow with Zach Taylor. I'll be honest with you, I'm starting to feel the same way about Daniel Jones because they've spent a ton of money they've invested money to build that team to give him every opportunity. And then you have the Denver Broncos. And I put the Broncos in this tier because I don't know where this goes.
Yeah.
Here's what I do know. I know George Payton wants a new quarterback. And I have a funny feeling that he's going to.
Yeah.
If the Denver Broncos wind up with Teddy Bridgewater, they go back to the last screen.
Okay.
If they wind up with Justin Fields, Trey Lance, one of the quarterbacks in this draft, they stay right here.
Yeah.
They stay right here.
Right here.
Now, the Panthers, if you notice, are in they're all by themselves. Mm-hmm. They're right in the middle of the screen. Because they're both. I think they're a playoff contender. They have a young quarterback that I don't know what he is.
Yeah, I mean, the Panthers are on the rise, but we just won't know. I think by week 6 or 7, I think we're going to know what this Panther team is all about.
I agree.
I think by week 6 or 7, we're going to know if Darnold has grasped the offense, if the defense is continuing to make leaps like they have been. We've talked about this before. What is it? Carolina has 8 of their 11 starters were drafted by Carolina, and I think that is a huge thing. That means they've worked them on the way up. This is a year where they can take the next step defensively, and I think they have the offensive tools to bring them to another level. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey is going to be healthy this year, hopefully. That also is a big thing. What happens? All these things are going to be dependent on injuries, obviously. But I think with the Panthers, with Christian McCaffrey, if you take him out of that lineup, I believe that changes. You don't have a Mike Davis behind him right now to try to replace that.
I agree. And here's the thing. I think Sam Darnold's going to grasp this offense just fine. Intelligence was never his problem.
Yeah.
I think he can be a poor man's Joe Burrow in this offense. And they have so many weapons. The offense is not what scares me. What scares me is, does the defense progress at the same tier? And I'll tell you the other thing that makes me nervous. I love Matt Rule. And I've said that multiple times. I wish the Jets had hired him 3 years ago when we hired Adam Googly-eyed dumb shit Gase. But the way he's handling this is making me really nervous.
Yeah.
To come out and say, here's what the reason that Carolina, I can't put them on either side of this tier is because of what he just said about taking a quarterback at 8.
Yeah.
You just brought in a quarterback. That's the number one thing he said in his press conference. By the way, he handled that perfectly. Sam Darnold has handled every bit of this like a pro's pro.
Yeah.
And then you just peed on his leg.
Yeah.
Because you said, oh, well, we can still take a quarterback at 8. That's stupid. Stop doing that. Matt Rule wants to do this coach speak thing. Stop doing that. That works in college. It does not work in the NFL. You're dealing with grown men. This is their career. Stop screwing with them. Tell us the truth or don't say anything at all. Stop bullshitting.
I think what Matt Rule was trying to do, and it didn't come across the right way. I think he was trying to say that their number 8 pick is open for business if someone wants to come up and get a quarterback.
And that's all well and good. Well, what you did was you put a level of doubt in the fan base and in Sam Darnold about where you stand with him. And that's stupid because the Jets just did that. Yeah,
I agree with that 100%. It came across exactly that way. It came across that there's still doubt, that they still don't think that Sam Darnold is the man. And I'm sorry, you just gave up 3 draft picks to get him. He's the man. And I also believe you have to get Teddy Bridgewater out of there some way, somehow. I think if you go into the season where Darnold is your starter and you have Teddy Bridgewater backing him up, the fans are going to be insensitive, especially if Sam, has one bad game in the first 3 games. They're going to have they're going to be like, oh my God, we should be going with Teddy Bridgewater, because there is a lot of Carolina Panthers fans out there, which surprisingly do not like the Sam Darnold trade whatsoever. They thought they should run it back with Teddy Bridgewater.
Dumb, and that's dumb. And Adam Black, who's on fire in the comments today, said trying to make 8 attractive. I never doubted that. I know exactly what he's trying to do. The problem is that you have to remember how the metrics of how things work in a market like Charlotte. That's really the team in Charlotte. We cover teams in that market. We work for ESPN in that market. I have really good access to the Carolina Panthers. The thing is that, yes, they have the Hornets, and yes, they have a soccer team, but nothing touches the Panthers in this market. Is that a fact or a fiction?
Absolutely, 100%, no doubt. The Hornets still aren't even close to sniffing the Panthers.
And that's the thing, is that this is now what's talked about in this market. And I'm not trying to say Sam Darnold's fragile or anything like that. You're subjecting the fan base to overreaction.
Yeah.
And you've already got part of the fan base that's not super happy with Darnold and blah, 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 blah. No. You need to be fully behind this guy.
Yeah.
You picked up his team option. This is your guy. Stop with the other bullshit. You don't have to do this to make 8 attractive. 8 is going to be attractive so long as the Lions don't trade out.
Yeah.
Because every team in the NFL knows they don't have to trade up to 4 to get a quarterback. Because the Falcons aren't taking one. I think we've narrowed in on that. They're not going to do that. Cincinnati's not trading out. Miami's not trading out.
Nope.
As long as Detroit doesn't, and if Detroit does, I don't care how attractive you made that pick. Because the team will trade with Detroit to make sure they get their guy.
Yeah, I mean, you realistically think about this. Top three picks are going quarterback. Atlanta, I think they're going to go on I think they're leaning toward the Arthur Smith thing and going with Matt Ryan. They won't be drafting a quarterback. Cincinnati's not trading out. Miami's not trading out. Detroit could trade out or draft a quarterback at that spot. It's been talked about. I think that would be a bad idea. I think they need to get a wide receiver. Then you got Carolina at 8. 8 is going to be the most attractive spot. Either way you look at it, even if Detroit does trade out, because then there's still if you want to get one of the top 5 quarterbacks, you're going to have to trade up to that position to get him. Because I think that Denver at 9 going to be taking a quarterback. So 7 and 8 are now becoming what the 3 and 4 were prior to the trades that were made.
Exactly. So Dave asked me when did they pick up Darnold's 5th year. They haven't officially done it yet, but they don't have to yet. Mm-hmm. Everything that came out, Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, they all reported that Carolina fully intends on picking up the 5th year option.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't have said that like it's a done deal. It's just everything that the two of them, and I trust them infinitely, and everything that my sources have told me is they will pick up the 5th year option on Darnold. They did that on purpose. Mm-hmm. I look at Carolina and go, you're trending everywhere in the right direction. I just need your quarterback, or I need your coach to get on board with it. I love everything Carolina's done, and I have long been the only Panther detractor in this market.
100%.
There have been a ton of people that work in this market that just kiss the ass of everything the Panthers do, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Because I'm realistic. I'm a Jets fan that bashes my own team more than anybody does. So I'm all into unbiased. I'm all into being honest. This is the first time in several years, including the last few years of Ron Rivera, that I have felt like this team's trending in the correct direction.
Yeah.
I just need Matt Rule to stop with the coach speak shit.
Absolutely.
You sound like a college coach when you do that, and it drives me nuts. Mm-mm. Now, we get into the tier of the teams on the right side of the screen.
Yeah.
I look at every one of those teams in loosely the exact same position. I could see you being 7 and 10. Mm-hmm. I could see you being 11 and 6. Mm-hmm. And I'll go through them one by one with a one-liner on each one of them.
Okay.
The Miami Dolphins could win the AFC East. It wouldn't shock me in the least. The defense is good. I like what Brian Flores is doing, and they've gone all in on Tua Tagovailoa, which is what you have to do with a young quarterback. The Las Vegas Raiders, you're all in on Derek Carr. He has 1 year, and I think he knows it. They have built this team that the offense is going to be good. The line, I've infamously said that they shouldn't have done that with the line. Raiders fans kill me for that. You're a little delusional if you think you're going to bring in 3 rookies and it's going to be better than Rodney Hudson and Gabe Jackson, no matter what they were last year.
Nope.
Minnesota Vikings, it's good Kirk Cousins, bad Kirk Cousins. Which one do you get? And I don't know.
Yeah.
I know you now have the weapons for it to be good Kirk Cousins. He's still Kirk Cousins. The Tennessee Titans, how bad is it going to hurt you to lose Jonnu Smith, Corey Davis, and Arthur Smith in the same year?
Yeah.
That makes me nervous because I've always credited Arthur Smith with revitalizing Ryan Tannehill. Will that continue? I would lean no. I think he's going to regress a little bit. I'm not going to say he's going to be bad. I just don't think he's going to be, the 8th highest rated quarterback in the NFL like he has been for the last 2 years. Dallas Cowboys, I picked them to go to the Super Bowl last year. Whoops. The Dan Quinnification of this defense and the removal of Mike Nolan puts you here. LA Chargers, if Herbert has a sophomore slump, you could be one of the 10 worst teams in the league. If he doesn't, and I don't think he will, you could be back into the playoffs team. Seattle Seahawks couldn't stop a nosebleed with a roll of paper towels, but you have Russell Wilson. And now I think you might have pissed off Russell Wilson, which if we've learned anything from pissed off Aaron Rodgers, that can be tremendously good.
Yeah.
Washington football team. Ryan Fitzpatrick is the ham sandwich of the NFL. But damn, he's a good ham sandwich.
Yeah.
And you mix him with Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel and all of the weapons they have with Logan Thomas, Antonio Gibson, guys that I think they will add in the draft. And then you just have an otherworldly defense. I think that the Washington football team is the team that I could easily see going 12-5 that nobody's going to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, now I have to take a breath because that was a lot to say in one.
That's okay, because there's a few things that I gotta talk about in there. Here's my take. I would take Las Vegas and I would put them on the other side. I think
with the young quarterback teams,
I do not believe. I think the offensive line change is going to make it. This team had one of the best offensive lines just a few years ago. Next year they're going to be bottom tier of the offensive line. I don't know what you're going to get. I don't think Henry Ruggs was really awesome last year. I think he had flashes of being a speedster, but not someone who would justify the pick he was picked at.
He shouldn't have been picked over Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, for sure.
But for what they want to do for him to be that over-the-top threat, I get it.
Yeah. I just don't – I honestly just don't – I don't see it going very well for them whatsoever. And I like the Washington football team where I think they should be a little bit higher. I think their defense is literally going to be historically good. I think we're talking about – and I am not overblowing it. I think we're getting to like close to 85 Bears kind of defense. 2002 Ravens, teams like that. I think this defense is going to be unbelievably good. Again, the Ryan Fitzpatrick thing kind of scares me. I don't know if we're getting 5 interception Ryan Fitzpatrick or if we're getting, regular Ryan Fitzpatrick who can, throw for 5 touchdowns. But I almost 100% agree with you on almost every single one of those other teams. I think these teams could either be in the back end of the playoffs or miss the playoffs 100%. Tennessee is a team that is always really strange to me because they always seem to be, you don't look at that team and say, yeah, that looks like a playoff team that much, especially with their defense was so bad last year. The Chargers are going to be a much better team this year, way better than expected. I think Justin Herbert was way better than anybody thought he would be. I think they're going to get Bosa and James back on defense, and it's going to make a huge difference. They picked up Corey Linsley, and I think this team's going to be a lot better than they were. And that's another part of me believing in the Raiders kind of falling off is I think the teams in that division are going to be a lot better than they were last year.
And I would agree with that. I look at this tier and say this is what's good. This is the tier of teams that's going to change the NFL season, because the teams that were on the previous tier and the teams that were that are in the next one, I know what they are. I know New England is in the 20s team in the NFL. I know the Bears are a fringe playoff team. The Falcons are not going to make the playoffs, and the three other teams in that tier are the three worst teams in the NFL. I know that definitively. There's a lot of potential play right here. And when I will do full 1 to 32 power rankings the Friday after the NFL draft.
Okay.
This is what will change.
Yeah.
I'll bet you $1 to a donut that I can tell you the number that the last 6 teams are going to be. I can tell you the number the next 10 are going to be. No doubt in my mind. Now, on to the contender tier. This tier all has one thing in common, and that's they all believe that this year they'll be doing a lot of
winning.
Wow, winning.
There are a couple up here that people are going to be shocked I put in this tier. I want to go through these team by team and go one at a time.
Okay.
The Indianapolis Colts are my 10th best team in the NFL. Good Carson Wentz, they could be 5. Bad Carson Wentz, they could be 12. I don't think they'd be any lower than that. I really like the defense. I like the addition of Carson Wentz. I really want them to add a weapon.
Yeah.
If you go in with just T.Y. Hilton and just Michael Pittman Jr., cannot believe I forgot his name.
Well, yeah, you love him. He's on your 6 to midnight team.
I want him to
formerly known as the 6 to midnight team, now known as the Chase Claypool team.
Yeah, it might. On this show, it can be the 6 to midnight team. I can't call them that on the ESPN Radio. They really frown on hinting at erections. It's just something that they don't like. I'm a big fan of Carson Wentz. I would like him to have that guy that can go over the middle. Pittman can do it. He's a possession receiver. They got Paris Campbell that can take tops off defenses. That Eric Ebron role. I can't figure out who's going to fill that. There are a ton of slot receivers in this draft. If they fill that need, I'm going to like them even better. Don't give me T.Y. Hilton. He plays on the outside more than you think he does. A. B. He's not as good as you remember him being.
Yeah.
The Cleveland Browns are my 9th best team in the NFL. A lot of people will say I'm too low because they've added Jadeveon Clowney and all this other window dressing. Cool. You have a penguin driving your car. Oh, it's a Maserati? Sweet. He's got flippers. There's no thumbs. It's hard to turn the wheel that way. That's what Baker Mayfield is.
Yeah.
There are reports out of Cleveland in the last 24 hours that say there are people in that front office that do not want to give him a big deal.
Yes.
That is the one thing that makes me feel like maybe they've turned a corner in Cleveland.
Yeah.
That they figured out that just winning a playoff game is not good enough. Baker Mayfield's not good enough to pilot this team. And maybe for once, Cleveland has figured this out.
That was a huge, surprising story to be coming out, that there's people in that front office that basically have said they are weary of giving Baker Mayfield the extension. The Cleveland Browns are a team that has a ton of pieces. Their depth is really deep. Jadeveon Clowney, I think, is just an extra piece, really. I don't think he's going to be moving the needle, but Jadeveon Clowney's always been a very, very, very good run stopper. He's not been a pass rusher, but he's been an above average run end for sure, rushing end. Here's the thing. The part about Cleveland that bothers me is I think that, one, Baker Mayfield is not, I don't think he's going to take anybody further than they should be. And bringing back Odell Beckham to this team, I think, causes more problems than it should be. I think if you've seen the trend from last year, the Cleveland Browns were a much better team without Odell Beckham.
They were. And you know why? Because Baker Mayfield stopped trying to press the ball downfield because he didn't have guys that could do that. Yeah.
He was making better decisions, better throws. You know, he's got a great rapport with Rashard Higgins. I just think that, you know, Odell takes up too much of Baker's mental space. He's always thinking, oh, man, I got to get the ball to Odell because he's going to be, you know, blah, 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 blah.
Odell Beckham lives rent-free in Baker Mayfield's head. There's no doubt.
With that being said, Odell is still a fantastic wide receiver in this league, I think. Now, I think Cleveland is going to be, they have an opportunity to do some damage this year. They really do. And their defense is going to be extremely good, and they're going to keep them in games, in any game. I think their defense can keep them in any game against any team in the AFC. It's going to be what Baker does and what he doesn't do. The Colts, we talked about them. I think with Carson Wentz, I think they are definitely a contender. I think that Jonathan Taylor is an amazing running back. Michael Pittman Jr. took some huge steps last year. I would like to see them get another weapon, like you said, and I think their defense, led by Darius Leonard, is out of this world good as well. These are teams that their defenses are going to take them a little bit further than maybe their offense would.
I've been reading the comments. I genuinely cannot believe I'm going to have to defend Lamar Jackson, but that's coming.
Uh-oh.
If you want a reason to hang on for the rest of this video, the fact that I'm about to defend Lamar Jackson, that should be enough for you, because I've never done that before. The San Francisco 49ers are my 8th best team in the league. This is on the pretense that they take Mac Jones and not Justin Fields or Trey Lance. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm fine with Mac Jones. I'm fine with any of it. I don't want you trying to throw Justin Fields or Trey Lance out on the field this year. I don't. I think the defense is superb. You need a quarterback that's not going to turn the ball over. And here's what Mac Jones provides that nobody's willing to say out loud. He can be Jimmy Garoppolo when Jimmy Garoppolo can't be Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
Last year, you went a lot of Nick Mullins and C.J. Beathard, whose greatest asset in the NFL is that he has the funniest name on the back of a jersey I've ever seen in my life. That's it. That's all he does. He's a below-average NFL quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo took this team to the Super Bowl, and I got news for you. The talent on that team was not as good 2 years ago as it is right now. And it's getting ready to get better. I know they lost to Forrest Buckner. This team churns out defensive talent, and DeMeco Ryans is going to be a very good defensive coordinator in this league.
Absolutely. San Francisco is going to be a lot better. They had a litany of injuries last year. I think that Jimmy G coming and being, healthy. We talked about it this year. I mean, the last year he was healthy, he took the team to the freaking Super Bowl, for God's sakes. So it's not like we're that far off, and it's not like this team is that much different than it was a couple years ago.
They went 6-10 with C.J. Beathard as their quarterback.
Exactly.
And Nick Mullins.
Yeah. I think they do. I think what it is I think Shanahan sees that he can get Jimmy Garoppolo to do what he wants. I think he can draft Mac Jones at 3, and if something happens to Garoppolo, I think he sees Mac Jones as someone that can still keep them in the hunt for the playoff, as opposed to a Nick Mullins or as opposed to a C.J. Beathard. I mean, their defense is very, very good. The defensive line has always been good. They're improving all over the field. I think the only thing I'm worried about with San Francisco was Robert Saleh was a fantastic defensive coordinator.
And DeMeco Ryans will be too.
Yeah.
He learned under Rob Saleh.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a difference? Yes, but I think DeMeco Ryans was the perfect replacement.
And I agree. Sometimes there's people that buy into a certain a team buys into a certain guy. I think they did with Salah, which I think why it's another great hire for the Jets. Not another great hire, a great hire. Another great hire.
Would insinuate there had been another one.
And that is completely wrong. I could see San Francisco doing some damage. Again, you can't have the injuries that you had last year.
Agreed. My best team in the NFC.
Woo!
Arizona Cardinals are my 7th best team in the NFL. I look at this team improving the defense. One of the problems this team had is they couldn't stop a nosebleed. Chandler Jones didn't play a lot of the year last year. You add that with J.J. Watt. I'm going to be honest with you. I think whoever they take at 16, which is going to be a corner, is going to be an improvement over what Patrick Peterson gave them last year. He lives on name. And they have other pieces on that defense that I think they're going to be able to stop people. They're going to score points aggressively. The only thing I can say is give Chase Edmonds this damn job and stop signing guys like James Conner.
Listen, I know that as soon as I saw the signing of James Conner, I just could see Jeremy's head explode. It's ready to give Edmonds is ready to get the ball all the time.
It's Chase Edmonds season, damn it.
Yeah.
This is what I've been waiting for. I have T-shirts and little beer koozies and shit that I've been waiting to. Chase Edmonds!
Yeah. Here's the thing. Larry Fitzgerald, think about this wide receiving core for just 1 minute. You have DeAndre Hopkins, who is top 3 wide receiver in this league. You got AJ Greene, and you have Larry Fitzgerald, who are all-time great wide receivers on the backside of their career, but still can give you something. I guarantee it.
But what does that do? Here's the thing. I've heard the AJ Greene thing. What does that do? All right, if they bring back Larry Fitzgerald, he's the 4th receiver on this team. It's not even debatable.
Yeah.
But what does that do? He gives a young quarterback 2 stable veteran presences that just know how to get open.
Yeah.
They've never been athletic marvels, ever. They've just been really good route-running tacticians that can get open. And I think that is huge for a young quarterback like Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I mean, that puts Christian Kirk in that mix, too. It's not like Christian Kirk's someone to sneeze at. He's a really good wide receiver in this league. Arizona's defense got improved. I think when you have Chandler Jones on one side and J.J. Watt on one side, that is trouble for any offensive line to look at and say, oh my God, what are we going to do?
You can't double anybody.
You can't double anybody, so you better have a really good offensive line. They're going to be an interesting team this year. Does Kyler Murray take that big step that I think he needs to take? And will Cliff Kingsbury just bury this team, which I think is a possibility?
I don't. I think this team's so talented, got so many vets that Cliff Kingsbury is. Your goal is to score points. Other than that, get the hell out of the way. The Buffalo Bills are my 6th best team in the AFC, with the potential to get as high as 3. I want to see the second cornerback spot bothers me. Losing John Brown bothers me. The fact that you don't trust Gabriel Davis as your 2 bothers me. I see a lot of potential, and I love Josh Allen. I think what he did last year might have been a little bit of an aberration. I don't know that he's actually as good as he was last year. And I think when the schedule improves, which it does this year, I think you're going to see some deficiencies. I think there was some luck involved. And I love Buffalo. This is not me. I'm not trying to denigrate Buffalo. I'm not. I'm trying to set up why I'm getting ready to say what I'm going to say at 5.
Yeah. Buffalo is a team where I actually have them as the 3rd best team in the league. Their offseason was all about getting re-signing the right guys, bringing them back in. You hit the nail on the head. The other cornerback spot is an issue, and I think they need to have a true edge rusher to help them out. Jerry Hughes is more of a linebacker than he has a true edge. And then, what do you do at running back? Singletary, Moss, and bringing in Matt Breida doesn't seem to be the actual answer. Yeah, those guys are all fine, but they, we talked about this a little bit on our, on our mock draft for the Buffalo Bills that's available on YouTube. Make sure you go check under the Sportsocracy. We're doing each team 3-round mock drafts. Me and Jeremy will be doing that over the next. We're almost finished.
I love when he does promos. This must be how Tank feels when I do.
Yeah, but the Buffalo Bills are a team that can. I think Josh Allen is all world, and I think as far as that, so few different positions to upgrade in the draft, and I think they have the position to do that. But other than that, they're still a deep team. I think Sean McDermott is a fantastic coach. Buffalo fans, when they can get people back in the stands, that makes a huge difference as well. I mean, they are the best fan base in the NFL, and I don't think it's even close.
All right, here's the one I've been getting crucified for, and I'm going to elaborate on it, and I will try to explain this to you. I am not a Lamar Jackson apologist under any stretch. How do you mitigate a running quarterback? That's what he does best. Nobody's ever going to deny that. That's what Lamar Jackson does best. How do you mitigate that when he's not super accurate, but he does have a big-ish arm? How do you mitigate that?
I'm not really sure how you can.
You put 2 of the fastest wide receivers in the NFL, which Sammy Watkins is, and it's never talked about.
I forgot about the Watkins deal.
And Marquise Brown. And you give him a guy like Mark Andrews that's the safety blanket, and you get Mark Ingram the hell out of the way because he's been in the way forever.
And he's gone.
And you give the ball to the Gus Bus and to J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
This is still a stupidly talented team. And people, now I feel like, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, I feel like the hate on Lamar Jackson now has gone so far that I have stayed in the exact same spot, and now I'm the apologist as opposed to the detractor.
Right.
That's how far I feel like this has gotten in a lot of NFL circles. It's not everywhere. It's in the comments of this, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Because I've been getting crushed from Baltimore. Here's the other thing I can tell you. They draft better than any team in the NFL.
Oh, they do.
And have for years. And they're probably getting ready to add the 20th pick in the NFL draft for Orlando Brown.
Oh. So, breaking news.
The Chicago Bears have been all up in that Baltimore business trying to get Orlando Brown. And it looks like they're going to get Orlando Brown for the 20th pick in the draft and Anthony Miller, the wide receiver.
Wow. Which would allow them to not have to draft a wide receiver in the first round. And I think if I'm not mistaken, didn't we have a wonderful pick out of Tulsa going in the first round to Baltimore Ravens? Probably my favorite player in the entire draft, Zaven Collins. He's really, really good. If you haven't seen this guy, you probably should go look at him. He's all-world stat-stuffing machine. Baltimore goes as far as Lamar Jackson can take him. We've talked about this. You know what's crazy? Gus Edwards is a top 10 running back in this league over the last couple of years. Ratings-wise.
In terms of grades and things like that.
Yeah.
I have long said Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins could formulate the best running game in the league if they would get away from Mark Ingram, who's 86 years old and runs like it.
Yeah. Well,
That's what they did.
And they did. They got rid of him, and now he's Houston's problem. Good luck with that, Houston. Baltimore is always going to have a good defense. They are super well coached. John Harbaugh is a fantastic coach. I think that when you get into the playoffs and you get teams that are starting to be familiar with what Lamar Jackson does, it really becomes a problem for some teams and some teams different. So the playoffs become a matchup. Who are they matching up with each week? There's teams on this list that 100% Lamar Jackson can beat because I don't think they had the defense to beat him. But there's other teams on this list, if they match up with him at that time, are going to have problems with Lamar Jackson. 100%.
Now, I've said all the nice things to the Ravens. Now I'd say the mean thing. I don't think you're going to extend Lamar Jackson. Wow. I have heard they are stupidly far apart in money because Baltimore's very prodigious about what they do. What does that tell you?
I'm really surprised that they don't want to do it. They're looking to go for another quarterback.
I didn't say that.
No.
Means you have 1 year.
Ooh.
Means you're all in this year. And I'm not going to say they're not going to re-sign Lamar. They will not re-sign him at the number he's throwing out there. He's throwing out Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson money. And they have vehemently said, mm-mm.
Well, he's throwing out that I want an MVP money. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, they're in like, not love with Lamar Jackson, which is what I've said for years, and I've gotten a ton of shit for it. Baltimore does not overpay anybody ever. It's the way the organization runs. It ran that way under Ozzie Newsome. It will run that way under Eric DeCosta. I'm telling you right now, this is a all-in 1 year surge for the Ravens because they do not know what they're going to do at quarterback a year from now.
Well, weren't they one of the first teams to give $100 million to a quarterback, though, with Joe Flacco?
Yeah, how'd that work out?
Not so good. Not so good.
Hey, high score. What does that mean? I break it?
Yeah.
That didn't go well. Yeah, and you know what Baltimore does better than any team in the league? Learn from their mistakes.
Yeah. And they're like, we're not going to be able to do this all over again.
This is a 1 year push for Baltimore. You're going to see Baltimore take all the chips, slide them in the middle of the table, and roll with it.
This is super interesting because now this is two teams that are now saying that their quarterbacks they're a little bit weary about giving the option for those quarterbacks. We have been saying this for, well, let's be here. Jeremy is the champion of this cause. That either you win Super Bowls or you be bad and you never pay a fifth-year option to your quarterback. Ever. Ever. You've done what you got to do. He's the champion of this cause, and I think the NFL might be catching up with old Mr. Greene over here.
It's not that you never give the fifth-year option to a quarterback. You don't extend a mediocre quarterback at high-level money. Ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson fall into that. Are they top 5 quarterbacks in this league?
No.
No. And nobody would say they are. Stephen Tow's the biggest Baltimore Ravens fan I know. He would agree with what I just said. So why would you pay them top 5 money? What sense does that make?
Yeah.
Now, when the cap inflates 3 years from now that gets a little different.
Yeah.
But if you're going to pay a mid-tier quarterback, a mid to even back into the top 10, high teens quarterback, top 5 money, you will never be competitive. Mm-hmm. Ever. It will not happen. Because the way the league is built now, you can't do it because you can't keep pieces around them.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson needs all of these pieces. It's the same thing I've said about Baker Mayfield. He with Mark Andrews and Hollywood Brown and that defense and all of these things, he's good enough to get in the playoffs and win a playoff game. Without it, I don't think he will be.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way about Baker Mayfield. My fourth team is the LA Rams. If you told me a surprise team won the Super Bowl this year, I would say it's the LA Rams. Oof. That's how much I believe in Matt Stafford. We know the talent is great. I don't think the Aaron Donald thing is going to generate much. It was a big story yesterday.
Yeah.
Here's a little, let me give a PSA. The more you know. If you try to steal a bottle from Aaron Donald in a club, it's not going to go well.
No.
And I don't know what alcohol makes you feel like you can take Aaron Donald on one-on-one, but I don't ever want to drink it ever in my life.
No. If you have not seen the pictures of what happened to that dude's face, please go look at it. It looked like it got caved in.
He got a word that I don't get to say very often. He got fucked up. F-U-T-U-P. Fucked up. I like this Rams team. The fact that the depth is going to be an issue, but they've got some extra comp picks. They've drafted ridiculously well. This is the team that drafts the best in the NFL that nobody talks about. They draft Ravens level well, but they just don't have as many picks. And they haven't had a first rounder in forever.
Yeah.
They've tapped out on ones. They're big game hunting. Give Sean McVay the best talent available and roll with it. And I think that team with that quarterback, now you have a top 10 level quarterback with a big an arm. And I think that's good enough I think they could be a Super Bowl team.
They're doing things differently than, I would say, every other team in the whole NFL. They have decided that their first and second round draft picks aren't necessarily worth as much as a young, good player. Look what they've done. Getting Jalen Ramsey, getting Matthew Stafford, giving away other picks for other guys. These guys are doing it differently. They're saying, I would rather have an established player in this league than draft a rookie where I'm not necessarily guessing, but we don't know. There's been too many busts. There's been too many busts in this league, and I would rather know that I'm getting some guy who I guarantee you is going to be good. And they've done it that way, and it's working and they can do it that way because they are drafting so well in the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, and the seventh round. These guys are getting guys in the later rounds that nobody else in this league are.
John Johnson, perfect example.
Yeah, exactly. Matthew Stafford is free. I'm sorry, Detroit fans, you guys have held this guy down. Matthew Stafford, I think, is going to be an unbelievable and my dark horse MVP for this year.
Holy shit, you just went full Bill Walton.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable. I love this Rams team. I think very highly of them. And I'll be honest with you, I think very highly of the Green Bay Packers, too. Mm-hmm. They're my three. They have Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I said in their mock draft that I don't think they're going to take a wide receiver at 29. I firmly don't think they're going to take a wide receiver at 29. And everything I've heard is they're not going to take a wide receiver at 29. This is a deep draft. I think you can add some weapons for him. They need a lineman. They're going to. I think they're going to take Tevin Jenkins, the kid out of Oklahoma State, if the Jets don't take him at 23. I just believe in Aaron Rodgers. And I think the more slights and the more LaFleur says things and the front office says things and there's no support, the more I think, fuck you, Aaron Rodgers is coming out.
Yeah.
And I've seen that guy, and that guy's pretty good.
Yeah, the whole FU tour against Green Bay went pretty well for Aaron Rodgers last year, if you guys remember. At age 37, he put up crazy good numbers. I don't think he's going down. I just don't see Aaron Rodgers being that type of guy where his arm's going to fall off quite yet. It's just not going to happen. I think he uses the negativity surrounding him better than anybody that I've ever seen. He doesn't care who he's got out there. Would he like help? Absolutely. But they did re-sign Aaron Jones, which I know is one of his biggest things that he wanted. They got to get some offensive line help. They lost Corey Linsley, which is huge. If you don't realize how much of a big downfall that is, you're doing it wrong. There is a method to the madness of not drafting a wide receiver with the number one pick. There is a ton of second-round wide receivers that can be starters in this league for a very long time. I think it's absolutely crazy. I still think that they need to draft a wide receiver with that first-round pick. If you haven't seen it, the Green Bay Packers 3-round mock draft went out last night. Make sure you go check it out on YouTube under the Sportsocracy. That's what I'm talking about. Yep. Promos. Listen, you are 100% right. This team has Aaron Rodgers and everybody else doesn't. And I think that's the only thing you can say about the Packers.
My second team in the NFL is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh.
To be the man, you got to beat the man.
Yeah.
And that's why they're 2, and that's why they're not 1. I look at them, I feel like they've done a lot to build the line back up with Joe Thuney, Kyle Long. I think they're going to take a lineman at the end of the first round. They may bring back Eric Fisher. They know they're one deficient. They know they can outscore you.
Yeah.
The one deficiency is we need a deeper line. They also, here's another thing that nobody talks about. They get Devontae Tardif back this year, too.
I totally forgot.
Nobody remembers that.
Yeah.
He seems to be the forgotten man because he went to give people vaccinations and shit for a full NFL year. Because he's the only MD in the history of the NFL.
Kansas City is, we all know Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback I think I've ever seen. You still have Travis Kelce. You still have Tyreek Hill. I need to see Clyde Edwards-Helaire take another step from what he did last year. Jeremy famously has not been very high on him. I'm hoping that he takes the extra step this year. They need a linebacker, 100%. They need another edge rusher. I think they can do some more. I really hope that they decide to bring back Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz on some team-friendly deals. I think if they do that and then they can draft, I think you're going to put this team right back in there and they're going to be the Super Bowl champions again.
I would agree. I actually think with what they've done, they're the best team in the league. I just want to see the draft before I dethrone Tanks.
Super Bowl champion, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Fire them cannons.
Look. We, as a show production staff, decided to give his fat ass Thursdays off so I didn't have to hear that shit for one whole day. I need you to shut the hell up with that. Here's the thing. Tampa Bay they brought everybody back.
Yeah.
You're the Super Bowl champions, brought everybody back. What negative am I going to say? I could say it, but I'm just a hater at that point. At this point, doubting Tom Brady is stupid. Kevin Vick said in the comments earlier that he would bet his house Brady plays one more year and then retires. I'm right there with you. I wouldn't bet my house on it, but I don't disagree with you. This team's built for one more year of run, and that's what you got. They're going to be the favorite in the NFC. The team that Tampa Bay was in the playoffs is the best team in the NFC, and I don't even think it's debatable.
Yeah, you can't bring every single starter back from a Super Bowl winning team and not expect them to do the same thing they did the year before. It's never happened in the history of the NFL where all 22 guys that started a Super Bowl are back with a team again. And, it's not like there isn't ways to add more people into the draft and add more depth. Their defense is extremely, extremely good. I think once they got together last year, they are going to go as far as Tom Brady can take them. It's just Father Time is undefeated, and he's a different kind of fella. He eats like avocado ice cream, and he has nutritionists and everything, and he sleeps in a hyperbaric chamber. This guy could play longer and longer and longer, but I've never seen it done before. So I'm just wondering, when is it going to happen? Week 6, week 7, next year, 2 years from now? I just don't know, and that scares me. But until I'm proven wrong, I'm going to think that he's going to be there for the entire year, and he's going to be the Tom Brady of old.
I'm right there with you. This has been fun. This was cathartic.
This was good stuff.
It felt really good. Mm-hmm. I don't know what I would. I needed this today. With no Tank, having you in here just to piss people off is fantastic.
Yeah, it was good fun.
As always, we are live from the Wicked Weed Studios, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different. This has been Bless Their Heart, our southern look at the NFL. Be sure to click the beer icon in the bottom right-hand corner to subscribe to this channel. You'll know every time we go live, 9 a.m. every weekday morning. We're moving the pieces around. You'll see different faces here just to give different content. I don't do baseball. Caleb does. Brian doesn't do as much gambling as I do.
Yeah.
It's just, we have a lot of pieces, and we're going to use them all.
Yeah.
And we love you and appreciate you for watching and consuming our content. Be sure to check out all of our draft videos we put after the end of this day. We will have every team in the NFL's 3-round mock draft out. And be sure to join us live April 29th for every pick of the 2021 NFL Draft live as they happen. Brought to you, as always, by Wicked Weed Brewing, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different.
Bye.